A 19-year-old university student was found strangled in a grove 20 kilometers from home. His best friend is suspected of the murder. Why can't the victim's spirit cross over to the other side? And did he really send text messages to his family after death? Don't miss out. Welcome to Psychic Investigations, a project of true and astonishing stories. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate incredible mystical anomalies and resonant criminal cases. To build this house in the center of their town, 20 years ago, Marina and Andrei went abroad to earn money. There was no one to help, as they both had disabled parents. After they returned, they started their own business, selling food, clothing, and building materials. They had a son, who was a university student, and a younger daughter. But a year ago, everything fell apart.
On August 2nd, the body of 19-year-old Ruslan Tishenko was found in a grove 20 kilometers from the town. According to the forensic report, the cause of death was strangulation.
It's been a while. I'm always with him. But everyone thinks I'm cold and emotionless.
Ruslan studied at a prestigious university and dreamed of becoming a programmer. At the time of his death, he had just completed his third year. His future seemed bright and full of promise.
Ruslan was one of the top students. He was very smart.
The residents of the town of about 60,000 people know and highly respect the family. So, the news of their 19-year-old son's brutal murder spread instantly.
No one expected it. We were all shocked.
Ruslan was open and trusting.
He had no enemies. Polite, well-mannered, sociable, he could find common ground with anyone.
He always laughed and smiled. He was a bundle of joy.
Ruslan's classmate and best friend Andrei was arrested as the prime suspect. To this day, Ruslan's parents can't understand how this could have happened.
I can't accept that his friend could have done this. I can't believe it.
Even the suspect's parents can't believe their son could be a killer.
They were like brothers. They arrested his closest friend. But you know well how the police operate.
Psychics Kayal Alekperov and Olena Kurilova took on this complicated case. Before the investigation, they received Ruslan's photo. They knew nothing about the tragedy.
I can't tell if this boy is alive or dead. His gaze is warm like that of someone living. But there's cold coming from below. He should be dead. What if he's lost and needs to be found?
I see his grave, but it feels like he hasn't died. The hands of his life clock are still moving.
Could there have been a tragic mistake? Did the parents bury the wrong person? After all, Ruslan was buried in a closed coffin.
The body lay in the heat for about 3 days, causing severe decomposition.
Hello.
Hello, I've been waiting for you.
Please hold this.
I can't breathe. I see a body lying on the ground.
His body was in terrible condition. I smell something awful. It's damp. There's water around.
He was lying in what used to be a channel to drain water from the fields. And it was up to 50 degrees in the sun.
Due to the condition of the body, experts couldn't reliably determine if there were bruises, abrasions, or contusions. They did find a fracture of the hyoid bone and signs of death by strangulation.
I see that day. He was invited somewhere and he wasn't sure whether he should go or not.
Yes.
It turns out that on the day he disappeared, Ruslan went to meet with former classmates. Marina recalls that the night before, her son had asked her whether he should go.
I would go if I were him.
After that, Ruslan never came home. Every day, his mother blames herself for encouraging him to go. Could his classmates have been involved in his murder?
A boy called him. They were very close. He was the one who invited your son to that meeting.
Yes, it was his classmate.
It turns out that Andrei, Ruslan's best friend, the one now accused of his murder, invited him. Their friendship began in the final years of school. After graduation, they enrolled at the same university and spent a lot of time together. They often met at Ruslan's home.
Every kid who came over felt like they were at home. I truly loved them all.
Marina says her son hesitated for a long time about whether to attend the class reunion.
He got a text message signed by a classmate. The meeting is tonight at 5 p.m.
What I see in the cards is a love story. He had a girlfriend. She's beautiful and has long hair. Their relationship was very pure and tender.
Yana is now 15. One day, she and her mother came to the city where Ruslan studied on business. They met in a cafe.
We liked each other instantly. He came over and started a conversation.
They exchanged contacts and parted ways. 6 months before Ruslan's death, Yana's family moved away, but the couple kept in touch online.
We talked all the time. There was always something to talk about.
After a year of long-distance romance, Ruslan decided to visit Yana and meet her parents.
He said, "Mom, I'm going to meet Yana's parents and convince them to let her come here for the summer." I said, "Ruslan, isn't that a bit too much?" He said, "Mom, I'll be cool even if it doesn't work out. But at least I'll meet them."
Yana's mother hesitated for a long time about letting her daughter go. After all, Yana was only 14, but Ruslan managed to convince her that he loved Yana deeply and was ready to take responsibility for her. It was a great love. The adults relented, and Yana went to spend summer holidays with Ruslan.
He treated her very seriously. He cherished her.
They loved each other like Romeo and Juliet.
On that terrible day, Yana stayed home while Ruslan went to meet his classmates. She was the last person to see him alive, and the last to speak to him on the phone.
He said, "It's strange, kind of suspicious. There's no one here." He thought they were playing tricks on him. I said, "Go home." But he refused and said he'd wait a bit. When I called him after that, he never answered.
Yana began to worry.
I texted, "When are you coming back?" He replied later, "Around 10. There are only 5 of us." That surprised me. He usually ended messages with kisses or emojis. I called back right away, but his phone was already out of range.
Since he'd texted that he'd be back around 10, things felt relatively calm until then, though Yana was very anxious.
Because Yana was underage, and Ruslan's family had taken responsibility for her, she slept in the parents' room. Ruslan stayed in another bedroom. Whenever he came home late, he tried not to wake anyone. That's why nobody noticed his absence until morning. The family immediately called his best friend Andrei, the one who had invited Ruslan to the reunion.
He said, "I wasn't with him." I asked, "What?" And he said he knew about the reunion but refused to go.
Worried, Marina called Ruslan's form teacher.
Ruslan's mother called me and asked about the reunion. I said I had no idea about any reunion.
I see that the boy who was very close to your son, his classmate, is now behind bars.
It was confirmed that on the last evening of his life, Ruslan did meet with his friend and classmate Andrei. At first, Andrei denied seeing him, but later admitted they had met.
Andrei claimed that no one else showed up to the reunion. It was hot outside, so he and Ruslan decided to swim in a lake in the outskirts of the town. And Ruslan drowned. That same day, investigators, along with his parents and the suspect, went to the site, where Andrei said it had happened.
What did he say at the interrogation?
They undressed and Ruslan went into the water first. Andrei saw him suddenly sink. He got scared and ran away. We didn't know exactly where he drowned. We searched the area, trying to find the body.
Dusk was falling, and investigators decided to resume the search the next day. But Ruslan's parents insisted on examining the lake bed immediately and offered to personally pay for the divers.
Andrei reacted almost instantly. He said, "No, don't bother. He's not here. I'll show you."
Andrei confessed to strangling Ruslan. The following day, he led the detectives to the site where he had hidden the body.
It was in a place where it's impossible for a random passerby to end up by chance.
Ruslan's friend was arrested. He's now in pretrial detention and has retracted his initial confession, claiming it was made under pressure.
All the time I've been here, I've felt your son's presence. Right now, his spirit is approaching you. He's trying to say something, but I can't understand what. Please, give me something that belonged to him.
These are the things he had with him.
On the day of the murder.
A restless spirit. I feel his massive presence here. I know you feel him too.
All the time.
I always see him with a stroller, laughing and playing with his little sister. He basically raised her.
Yes.
They had their own little secrets. He used to give her small gifts.
I'm simply shocked.
His sister sees him in her dreams.
Yes, he often comes to her in dreams.
And he visits his girlfriend's dreams too.
He hugged and kissed me, saying, "I'm alive. Don't believe anyone."
Remember, you had another very important dream.
I saw a ravine. He was standing at the top, calling me. He held out his hand and said, "Mom, don't worry. I'm alive."
Would you like me to interpret your dream? You saw him on the top. The river in your dream was the river Styx, across which the god Charon ferries souls to the afterlife. His soul hasn't crossed over. It's caught between worlds. He's not at peace. Why? Because his soul is still here.
But who killed Ruslan, and why?
Among those involved in your son's death is an adult man.
Is the man currently under investigation?
I believe so. More than one person was involved in your son's death. There were strange phone calls, but not to Ruslan's phone, but to his family members. Possibly his mother or sister, as if from the other side.
Unidentified numbers.
We couldn't trace who it was because of it.
A month after Ruslan's murder, his 8-year-old sister, Veronika, began receiving calls from an unfamiliar number. Her parents feared that the killer, or killers, was trying to intimidate the girl, so they changed her number, and the calls stopped.
Those were very strange calls. Those were calls from the other side, and the caller was their son.
On the 9th day after Ruslan's death, a glowing icon appeared on the wall of the room where his photo stood on a small table. It appeared every day for 7 days. We think it must be a sign, but we don't know what it means.
Here it is.
That's the spirit arriving. He's being called upward, but he's still here. When someone dies, they must leave. The dead don't belong among the living.
While we were sitting in the gazebo, I saw the boy's spirit. He was walking toward the gate, calling to us to the forest. So I knew we needed to go to the place where his body was found.
They found him down there at that spot.
His belongings were somewhere else. I sensed 3 places.
A kilometer from where Ruslan's body was found, divers discovered his keys and belt at the bottom of a drainage canal. According to the official police version, the belt was used to strangle him.
On the day your son disappeared, he was invited by a close friend. That same boy pointed to the place, right there, where Ruslan's belongings were found. He's the one behind bars now, isn't he?
It was revealed that the suspect identified the location where he had thrown Ruslan's keys, glasses, and the belt allegedly used in the murder. Investigators also found Ruslan's mobile phone and gold jewelry at the suspect's home. The investigation confirmed that the text message Ruslan received on the day of his disappearance, supposedly from his classmate, was actually sent from Andrei's phone. He had purchased a SIM card specifically for that purpose and signed the message with someone else's name.
It turned out that none of Ruslan's classmates knew anything about the reunion Andrei had invited him to. Not even the girl whose name was used in the message Ruslan received on the last day of his life.
After the funeral, I found out that the text had supposedly been sent from my phone, but I never sent it.
Andrei's confession and the discovery of Ruslan's belongings in his home shocked everyone who knew the boys.
Ruslan always helped him out with money, invited him over, took him out for walks and barbecues. Andrei probably just used him, pretending to be a friend.
In my opinion, Andrei was only friends with Ruslan because of the money.
Could it really be that Ruslan was killed by his best friend?
I have this paradoxical feeling that on the night he died, somehow, he came home.
It was pure mysticism. On the night Ruslan died, his parents saw the light on in his room around 2 a.m.
I woke up and saw the light in the study. I asked my husband, "Did Ruslan come home?" He said, "Yes, he did," and I drifted back to sleep.
Everything that happened felt like a phantasmagoria. To calm the spirit, I began reading prayers for the departed. The candles wouldn't light, but there's no wind. Have you ever seen that? The spirit blew them out and said, "I don't want prayers for the dead. I'm not dead." I'll try without the candles, but it's very dangerous. Don't film. Give me your hand. In the few seconds while I was unconscious, I had a vision. Ruslan clearly said to me, "I'm not dead. I'm alive."
He doesn't remember the moment of his death.
I need to go to the cemetery.
We need to show the spirit his grave.
The psychics and Ruslan's parents decide to go to the cemetery immediately. It's already late, so they arrive after dark.
Ruslan, here is your earth. Look, it's right here beside them.
Elena, I think he now understands that he's dead. He's beginning to recall everything. He says he was lured out of home. He's telling me about the text message he didn't write.
It's quite possible that the message saying, "5 people came, I'll be home by 10, was sent by the killer, to prevent the family from suspecting anything terrible had happened.
I have a question for the parents. He's talking about money. Someone wanted a lot of money.
He says they asked him questions about the money your family had. We'll trade you for money.
It's possible that Andrei told someone about the family's wealth, and the culprits devised a cruel plan. Andriy, as someone close to Ruslan, would lure him out and take him to the grove.
Could the psychics describe the people involved in the murder?
One of them is his friend. Another wears a uniform. And the third one has a criminal past.
I asked him for names, but he said, I don't know their names. He just calls them the men.
I'm getting the letters A and T. What happened will be revealed by a woman. She works in public service.
It's time to let him go.
Will they be found?
I'm certain the guilty will be punished.
Kyle, hurry.
Before he leaves, he wants to tell you he loves you and his little sister. He's grateful for the life you gave him. And a new life is beginning for him now, in heaven.
I asked, what should I tell your mother? And he said, live on. He's asking you to live on.
Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful for your help.
Strange fits have been bothering a mute 9-year-old boy for 6 months. What mystical force is assaulting him? Don't miss out. The psychics will uncover a horrifying family secret. This is Yaroslav. This 9-year-old boy lives in a Ukrainian village. At first glance, he's no different from his peers. He was born healthy and developed like other children. However, at the age of 3, he stopped speaking for no apparent reason.
They told us, take him to kindergarten. There, he'll socialize with the kids and start talking.
Yaroslav went to kindergarten but didn't start talking. He was given various diagnoses, ranging from autism to epilepsy. However, he didn't show symptoms.
If only the doctors would say, yes, he's sick, here's the diagnosis, I would even accept it.
Yaroslav never went to school. Teachers worked with him at home, and in all other aspects, he was just like his peers. He did his chores, rode his bike, and loved swimming in the local estuary. But 6 months ago, Yaroslav changed dramatically, seemingly out of nowhere.
The fit started. Headaches, crying, restlessness, screaming.
He starts punching, biting, and pinching me until I bleed. I'm covered in bruises.
It never happened before. He jumped on the bed.
While lying down, he jumped above the bed, 50 or 60 centimeters high. We were terrified.
At first, the fits happened once a week. Now, they occur up to 3 times a day.
He weeps. It's heartbreaking. How much can his little heart endure? We're tired of calling an ambulance at night.
Doctors still can't figure out what's happening to the boy.
We've seen everyone. Doctors even refuse to treat him. They say, we can only sympathize with you. We don't know what's wrong with your son.
Each day, Yaroslav's strange attacks are worsening and becoming more frequent. It all starts with him staring at one spot, smiling, and then laughing uncontrollably.
I ask him, what's wrong? He pushes me away and keeps laughing. Then he starts crying.
No medication can stop the attack or calm the boy, says Yaroslav's mother. Only some analgesics can reduce the headache, but only for a few hours.
We've been prescribed all the pills imaginable.
And in the past few weeks, Yaroslav's attacks have become a real threat to his life.
He will freeze and cover his face with his hands, and he will just stand, no matter if it's on the side of the road or in the middle of the road. A car could come, and he would cover his eyes. It could run him over.
I'm so scared for him.
Olena raises her son alone. His father left them when the boy was 3 years old. To understand what's happening to Yaroslav and why he's suffering so much, Olena's elder daughter, Tamara, persuaded her to turn to the people with extraordinary abilities. Tamara has been living in San Francisco for several years. Working at a logistics company, she visits Ukraine a few times a year. When she last visited, her younger brother was fine. But upon arriving home a few weeks ago, she couldn't recognize him.
This isn't my brother. His eyes glow. He's not the same child he was 3 months ago. It's like 2 different people in one body.
No one can help us. I'm asking for help from the psychics.
Our expert, Hala Polishchuk, begins working with Yaroslav's photograph.
An incredible boy. When I tune in, I see an image of something like wires in his head. and those wires are causing terrible pain. There's some kind of magic involved.
Hala's colleague, clairvoyant Janna Shulakova, joins the investigation.
He's a special child, as if he lives between two realities. It's something connected to the family lineage. There's strange energy coming from the photo and a pungent smell, like gasoline or kerosene. I see a man who's trying to set himself on fire, like a torch. It makes no sense. We need to be there. Hello.
Hello. I'm so glad you came. Thanks for responding to our letter.
Show us the boy. May we come in?
Come in, yes.
It turned out that Yaroslav hardly slept the entire night before the psychics arrived. The fit lasted until early in the morning.
He's shy. Don't be afraid.
Let me see your hand, okay? Nice.
Stay still, son.
Let me give you something nice to hold on to. I see now. It's burning. He's fully 9 years old, right?
Yes, 9 years and 3 months.
Just what I feared. We need to let the boy go with his sister so he doesn't worry.
Let's go talk somewhere.
The boy responds. He's not withdrawn or aggressive. He's all right mentally. He's basically stuck. He doesn't know his path. He's lost.
I feel that these deviations, as doctors call them, began when he was about 3 or 4 years old. Then there was a lull, followed by a surge.
6 months ago, on December 21st, the supposed end of the world, as people said, he started crying, screaming hysterically, running up, pinching, and biting. We'd never seen anything like this before.
Could Yaroslav have been affected by the date marking the end of the ancient Mayan calendar, when many anticipated as the end of the world?
December 21st was a pivotal day because the planets aligned. Powerful channels and energy flows opened.
It's the opening of the heavenly gates. It's like a battle of darkness and light, and he received a dose of darkness.
The negative forces that descended from the heavens activated a very strong magical influence within Yaroslav. That's why the boy urgently needed saving. When I start examining the men in the family, I sense the smell of kerosene or gasoline. Do you have a family home that's falling apart?
It turned out that near the house where Olena, her parents, and her son live, there is indeed another old house. Olena's grandparents built it about a century ago.
It was in good condition, but recently the roof started leaking and collapsing. We're planning to tear it down.
A man used to come here all the time. Drunk. Was it your husband?
Yes, my second husband.
What terrible thoughts he had.
It was summer, hot, and he poured gasoline on himself.
Like a torch.
Family distrust. The man was jealous. He came to you from another family, bringing his children.
With a child, yes.
Olena divorced her first husband while pregnant with Tamara. He cheated on her and abused her. When her daughter was 3 years old, Olena met her second husband, Serhii.
Was he jealous of you, or what?
Yes. He was 12 years older than me. He had a child, and I had Tamara. I thought we'd come together, but he started being jealous of me over everything.
Olena was always unlucky with men. This wasn't a coincidence.
Oh my. The problem was in Olena's lineage. I decided to check Olena's fate.
You clearly stood on the brink of death and...
Yes, that happened.
It occurred when Olena was 16. She was studying design at a technical school. She was walking with a friend after class when a man with a knife appeared out of nowhere and attacked them.
He missed, and we started running, crying, screaming. People gathered, and we escaped.
2 months later, Olena almost died again.
A black car drove by and someone grabbed me by the arm. There were 4 men inside. They started pulling me into the car. I screamed, broke free, and they drove off.
Olena doesn't know who those men were or why they wanted to drag her into the car.
This wasn't about killing you. It was about keeping you in constant fear and suffering.
I had a dream in which I saw I was supposed to die.
Why did all this happen to Olena? Could it be connected to what was happening to her son? She nearly became disabled at birth and suffered as a teenager.
They brought me to the maternity ward in the morning, but I didn't give birth until almost 10 p.m. I lost consciousness giving birth, but one of Olena's eyes was crushed. She could see with one eye only. Somehow God spared her.
It turned out that Olena's mother also suffered from a strange illness as a child. Seeing a doctor wasn't an option back then, so a local healer told her mother to carry her to a willow, which was believed to possess healing powers.
As a child, I was sick all the time until I was 7. My poor mother carried me to the willows, and somehow, miraculously, I recovered at 7.
It seems that young children in the family always fall seriously ill, causing their mothers to suffer. But they don't die. They outgrow their illnesses, have children of their own, and then their children fall ill, perpetuating the cycle. It was like a loop. We need to understand why this was happening. Why wasn't Yaroslav outgrowing his illness? And it was consuming and destroying him from within. Someone's running around.
Oh Lord.
Let's go check it out, Hala.
I'd rather step outside if that's okay.
You can just step over there.
I hear children's voices.
They're running there, making the noise.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no. Two children, they're playing. The spirits of two little boys were running around the house. Most likely, Yaroslav sees them too, especially before a fut when he freezes and stares at one spot. He looks at them, talking to them, and playing with them. The spirits desperately wanted us to notice them so they could give us a clue.
This is just horrifying. They knocked a photo or painting off the wall. They knocked the cards out of my hands.
Twins died there. They died one after the other, a month apart, at 11 months and 12 months old. They were my grandmothers.
The twins were the first children of Olena's grandmother. They were born about 80 years ago.
One died at 11 months and the other at a year old. Back then, it was a common thing.
At that time, it was considered normal for young children to die. Any illness leading to a child's death was simply called children's illness.
My eldest daughter rarely visits, but when she does, she hears footsteps under the windows at night.
The twins didn't die for no reason. They became a kind of payment. It turns out that now Yaroslav is supposed to die. And the reason is magical.
As far as I know, Jana, such a curse can happen either when someone kills their own child or commits a double murder, like killing a pregnant woman. We need to look into your great-grandmother.
I don't know anything like that.
Do you have a family cemetery?
Yes, it's nearby.
The clairvoyants follow Olena to the cemetery.
There's energy coming from here. Is this your great-grandmother?
Yes, it's her. Maria.
I felt that the woman was responsible for what was happening in Yaroslav's family.
There's a feminine energy here. It feels like a curse, and so much hatred.
Is it directed at her or coming from her?
At her.
I was shown her husband. He also died suddenly. She stayed alone with many children to raise and care for. It was so hard for her.
Olena's great-grandmother Maria indeed had 5 children. She raised them alone and never remarried.
What strength she had. She was such a strong-willed woman.
She was alone. It was hard for her to raise them all. She was afraid they wouldn't grow up properly, so she kept them under strict control.
You know what I see? She was supposed to give away her child in an agreement, like marry it off.
Jana, you're saying this, and I feel a surge, like a column of energy rising from here.
I saw an image. The house where the woman lived. A man comes to her and negotiates something as if she's supposed to give him her daughter.
It turned out that Olena's grandmother Nina lived in the same village. Her house still stands.
Then we decided to go to this house.
The house where this woman lived was inherited by Olena's relatives. They now rent it out. The current tenants were against the clairvoyants entering the house, but allowed them to work in the yard.
I was immediately struck by the energy of a murder committed by the house's owner, Maria's great-grandmother. It feels like an unfulfilled promise or agreement. Look. Please. A family grave for a girl.
A young girl, see?
What promise are they talking about? Whose grave do the clairvoyants see? And how does all this relate to what's happening with 9-year-old Yaroslav?
I saw an image of a blow to the head.
Are you saying the girl was beaten?
Practically killed. The mother grabs her by the neck and starts smashing her head against the wall.
Oh God. Are you saying great-grandmother Maria beat her own daughter to death in this house?
Yes.
Olena recalled the horrifying incident. Maria had an older daughter. Olena's son is named Yaroslav, and Maria's elder daughter was named Yaroslava. The family affectionately called her Yarunya. She died very young because her mother beat her.
She hit her 2 or 3 times, maybe in the wrong spot, who knows. And she cried about it her whole life, blaming herself for what happened, feeling guilty.
Olena's son is named Yaroslav, and the name of his murdered relative was also Yaroslava. This isn't just a coincidence. The family's misfortune began with her, and it's supposed to end with him.
But why did the mother beat her own daughter to death?
Could the girl have been promised to someone for marriage?
I don't know. I heard that someone saw her with a young man, and they came home and said, "We saw your Yarunya with a man." Grandma was very strict, afraid of her daughter having a child out of wedlock. So she hit her when she returned home.
It's entirely possible that Maria intended to marry Yarunya off to a wealthy suitor and promised her daughter to someone. When she discovered Yarunya already had a sweetheart, she became anxious about her getting pregnant and grew furious. But how is it connected to what's happening with Yaroslav?
Yarunya, who was effectively killed by her own mother, was indeed pregnant. She realized she was about to die, and that she'd never see her child or get married. And that's why curses began to spill from her lips. Curses so children would fall ill, and their mothers would suffer because of this. And every generation would lose a boy. This was meant to lead to the family's eventual disappearance.
She didn't die immediately.
She spent 2 weeks in bed before she died.
Her head hurt. She had a hematoma in her skull. And she cursed. Oh God. She cursed her mother, women, and women's fates.
In every generation, one child must die. But look, Yaroslav's lineage was essentially paid for by the twins who died earlier. They were 2, so your generation should have been spared.
And Jana, this isn't just about death. It's about women's suffering, so they know torment. Now I see the wires are his connection to his lineage. It's like they're crawling into his head. It's an allegory, a wire linking one woman to the next, all through the boy's head. Yaroslav was born to save the family. He is what's called a ransom. However, many years of life God grants him. That's how much time the family's punishment will last. Truly, God gave you a gift in this boy, to cleanse your lineage.
You mustn't force him into strict confines. I think, Hala, we can head back home.
We'll work with the boy.
The clairvoyants returned to Yaroslav. For several hours, they recited incantations and performed rituals. Afterward, Olena kept them for a while longer, asking how to interact with her son correctly to help.
I'm so grateful to the clairvoyants for helping me, putting everything in its place, explaining where this all comes from, and who's to blame. Now I know my son is my guardian angel, protecting our entire family.
A supernatural force is trying to drag a young boy to the netherworld. Several times, he has gone into a trance and attempted to take his own life. Who or what is possessing the child's body? Don't miss out. The psychics will uncover the chilling secret. This is Danilo Batula from a small town in eastern Ukraine. The 8-year-old boy loves solving math problems and taking care of all his pets at home.
Rory's biting. Ouch.
33-year-old Victoria Batula has 4 children, but she can't leave little Danilo alone for even a moment. He has attempted suicide 3 times already.
He grabbed a knife from the kitchen and held it like this, shouting, "Don't come near me." It wasn't him.
His eyes were different. It was like someone else was inside him. It was so terrifying.
Neither pleas from his family nor tears had any effect on the boy. A neighbor came to the rescue.
It was awful. It wasn't Danilo.
Somehow, the neighbor managed to take the knife away from Danilo.
I don't remember what I told him. It was a shock.
It all started with terrible nightmares. In his dreams, Danilo constantly sees an unknown figure, pulling him towards the other side.
I don't know who it is. I'm scared. After these dreams, I can't fall asleep. And then strange things happen to me.
Once it seemed like something pushed him to the side, but no one was there.
Victoria is desperate. She raises her 4 children on her own, as her husband left her for another woman years ago and provides no support. And now, her son is going through this ordeal.
I love my children so much, and I'm extremely worried about Danilo. I'm terrified he might die.
Victoria took Danilo to the best doctors, saved up money for expensive tests, and consulted with many therapists. But all the specialists concluded that the boy was fine, claiming all the tests were normal, and Danilo's mental health was absolutely stable.
We did an MRI and all the tests were perfect.
We see nothing suspicious.
Meanwhile, little Danilo keeps seeing even more nightmares and talking about his death almost daily, asking to be taken to the cemetery. He's even asking his mom to order a gravestone for him.
He says he needs a gravestone ordered for him.
The psychics are Victoria's only hope to save her son. She recorded a video message for them.
You are my last hope.
Please help my brother.
Psychics Jana Shulakova and Jana Pasinkova agreed to help the family. Yana set off early in the morning, and while on her way from Kiev, she shares her initial feelings with Jana over Skype.
I'm tuning in and I hear a strange sound. Something beeping like telephone tones. And the beeps end with a prolonged beep. It feels like death is on the other end of the line.
I don't like the boy's gaze. It feels like a dead person stares at me.
I see an inscription. It's a name, Danilo. Oh God. The boy's name is written on a grave.
Is 8-year-old Danilo really going to die soon?
The first 3 cards, death, a road. Either death on the road or an accident. And the third card is twins.
Stop.
Get off the van.
Jana, I'll call you back.
The engine starts smoking heavily. Everyone's panicked.
I just had it serviced. Everything was fine. Maybe there's an oil leak.
Luckily, the driver managed to fix the vehicle.
It seems to be working now. We're good to go.
But where's Yana?
Yana. Yana. We need to find her. Yana. There she is. What happened?
A boy's voice. I need to go back. I have to stay.
Yana, let's go back to the van.
Some kind of force tried to stop me. The one that's hunting the boy, Danilo.
We stop by to pick up Jana Shulikova and head to Victoria's house.
Hello. Hello. I'm Anastasia.
I'm Danilo.
Danilo's mother steps out for a few minutes to visit a neighbor and will be back soon. The psychics begin to tune in to the boy's energy.
Danilo, dear, look into my eyes. Why aren't you looking?
I don't want to.
It will soon be clear why the boy avoids eye contact with the psychic from the start. And it's going to be a shocking revelation.
Where are you going, my friend?
Oh God, what are you doing?
This is Ron.
The dog is trying to tell us something. When I touched him, I saw a strange vision. A white dog similar to him barking loudly. And through that barking, I heard a voice. I wanted to save them, but I couldn't.
Hello? Thank you a lot for coming.
When I touched Danilo, I saw someone choking him. What are you afraid of?
I see somebody.
See somebody?
A boy.
Are you the only one to see him?
Yes, only he sees him.
Then where's the second boy, a little one?
Inside.
The psychics find Andriy in the hallway. The boy seems scared, although he was calmly playing outside just moments ago.
Something near his room scares the boy. Show me what you're afraid of, please.
Anastasia and I were sleeping in the chair. First, he took my blanket.
Do you know who he is?
No.
And then I found the drawing.
My goodness. Graves.
Danilo, whose grave is this? Who drew this?
I don't know.
Danilo.
During these episodes, Danilo does strange things, and when he comes to, he remembers nothing.
My dear, don't you remember what's happening to you at all?
Mom, I'm scared.
A dead boy is pulling Danilo to the other side. Perhaps it's his grave that Danilo is drawing. And when I asked the cards whose grave it was, I drew the cards of the twins. 2 identical people. On my way here, I already drew the twins. And at that very moment, our van broke down. The same boy who's hunting Danilo tried to stop me.
Who is that boy?
Mom, I'm scared.
Hush, hush.
Suddenly, kitchen utensils start falling from the closet in front of our eyes.
Take the kids out of here. I see a silhouette. A boy is simply standing there, you understand? He thinks the house is his.
There's a grave on your property.
Yes, there is one.
Indeed, there is a grave behind the house where the large family lives. It's old and neglected, appearing to be about 100 years old.
The boy, yes, he was 12. He lived here. Germans buried him here.
His intentions are not evil.
He didn't have enough play. He wants a family. At that moment, I heard a voice from the grave. Help the boy in the wet clothes. Who is that boy? It's like he's trying to show us something. It's not water, it's wet mud.
The swamp.
I get it now. Do you remember I saw
a gravestone?
Yes, a gravestone with a name.
Danilo.
We understand who you're talking about. This is Danilo Kuznetsov. Yes, they were friends and attended the same kindergarten.
The boy who drowned in the swamp.
We couldn't believe what we just heard, but it turned out that over a year ago, Danilo's best friend drowned in a pond.
And the drowned boy was also Danilo. He died when he was 8.
Ever since then, he's been repeating he wants to be where Danilo is.
He would say, "Mom, let's buy a gravestone for me and Danilo." And he keeps asking to go to the cemetery.
We need to see that swamp. Let's leave Danilo and the kids here.
So, this is the swamp, right?
Yes.
The spirit brought us here. I think we should protect ourselves from the presence of these spirits. Hold it, please. There's more than one child here.
They passed at the same time. There were several kids with him.
2.
They were from the same family.
They were brothers.
It turned out that 3 children indeed died here. 8-year-old Danilo Kuznetsov and 2 brothers, 6-year-old Misha and 5-year-old Maxim. They played together in the yard near their house, and suddenly, in the afternoon, they disappeared. Half the town joined the search for them.
All our services were involved.
The children were found that night in this pond, just 100 meters from their homes.
All 3 of them were buried together.
Both children died at once in that family. The parents now have no children left.
The death of his friend was a real shock for little Danilo. According to Victoria, her son has not been the same since.
You know why the twin card kept appearing? The boys must look alike. Both are fair-haired.
Like brothers.
That's true, they're very alike, they were close.
My first thought was that the deceased friend was pulling our Danilo with him. But why? The boy is not to blame for what happened. Danilo is the boy in the wet clothes the spirit from the old grave spoke of. Help the boy in wet clothes. But he's not dangerous to the living Danilo. I didn't sense any aggression.
But why does the deceased Danilo need help? How can psychics help the child who's been long dead?
Suddenly, I saw a woman holding the deceased Danilo by the hand and gesturing as if to say that our Danilo was not to blame. I described the woman, and Victoria recognized her.
That's that Danilo's mom.
She passed after her son.
Yes, Snezhana.
Snezhana, Danilo's mother, lived only 6 more months after her son died. When doctors diagnosed her with uterine cancer, she didn't even fight it. After her son's death, she lost the will to live.
She cried a lot after his death. She found a poem he wrote, "Mommy, I will never, ever leave you." She couldn't understand why he went to the swamp. Why did the children go there?
Everyone blames the deceased Danilo for the deaths of the other 2 boys. And now, the spirit of his mother asked us to help her explain how the children drowned. You know those boys' mother?
What boys?
Elena, no, we didn't talk to her.
We need to go talk to her.
A few minutes later, the psychics are at the door of the apartment where the mother of the deceased brothers, Olena, lives.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Gennady.
Gennady. Could we please talk about your boys?
This man is the grandfather of the deceased brothers. It's difficult for him to recall the tragedy, but it's essential for the psychics to understand how Danilo's friends died to save the living boy.
We need your help badly.
Off the camera. Misha and Maxim were Olena's only joy. Her husband left them before the tragedy. After her sons' deaths, she became reclusive, constantly praying and not communicating with anyone. Her parents are trying to bring her back to life, but so far, it hasn't worked.
Could we talk to Olena?
She's not home, she's at work.
If possible, do you have any of the boys' belongings? One of them went after an animal.
A dog. The younger child.
We remember that Jana mentioned a dog earlier near Victoria's house.
The dog barked loudly, and through the barking, I heard a voice. I wanted to save them, but I couldn't.
That day, the boys ran after the dog, and the dog brought them to the swamp.
Something caught their attention. Maybe it was a dog.
The locals say this is quite possible, as there are indeed many stray dogs in the town.
It was freezing. It was mid-December. The swamp was covered with a thin layer of ice, and they decided to slide. First, the youngest boy fell through the ice, then the middle one. Danilo tried to save them, but he only drowned himself.
He's not to blame for their deaths and wants their mother to understand this. We couldn't leave without telling this to the woman.
Finally, Olena picks up the phone.
Olena, the psychics would like to talk to you.
Olena, hello. You still bear a grudge towards Danilo and blame him. But please stop it, because it wasn't Danilo's fault.
I don't wish to talk about it.
The psychics have said their piece, but they still haven't figured out who is the dead boy who's killing little Danilo.
Today, strange sounds kept ringing in my head, like short phone tones. They were driving me crazy. It's somehow connected to the danger threatening Danilo. We had to hurry back to the house.
To find out what force is pulling Danilo to the netherworld, the psychics decide to perform a ritual.
Danilo, follow me. Everyone else, get out.
Danilo's mother, grandmother, and all their friends are praying for the boy in the yard.
I drew the card of the twins this morning. It sometimes indicates that two souls are kept in one body. Inside, the boy lives the spirit of another boy who's trying to drive him, destroying his soul through illness or suicide. But who is that boy, and why did he choose our Danilo for possession? It's the spirit of the boy who was next to him at the hospital.
He spent 3 days in a coma.
It turned out that in October 2014, Danilo was taken from school to the intensive care by an ambulance. The boy poisoned with the fruits of a toxic plant, henbane. He was only 6 years old. He picked up a fruit from the street and tasted it. As a result, he almost died. He spent 3 days in a coma.
Do you know what that sound is? The coma, the machine beeps.
When Danilo was in the hospital, another boy who was next to him died, but his spirit didn't want to leave. He needs a new body.
So, did the spirit of this boy appear to the psychic Yana Pasinkova on her way here?
I need to stay. Who was in the hospital with him?
I didn't see anything like that.
Danilo, do you remember being in the hospital? Do you remember that another boy died?
He was with me in the hospital. We talked a little, and then when I woke up, he was dead.
But Danilo was brought to the hospital unconscious. He was in a coma, and the boy who was in the same room with him was also in a coma and died before Danilo woke up. How could they have met? Could it be on the threshold between life and death?
When you're in a coma, you're already 1 foot in the world of the dead. There, it's easy to pick up anything. An entity, a demon, or the soul of a deceased person can settle in your body. To prevent this from happening, it's always necessary to pray for the sick.
The boy who was in the room with Danilo never came out of the coma and died. Could it be that his spirit, so eager to live, attached itself to Danilo and is now pulling him to the other side?
But why is he afraid when we enter the metro or get on the bus? He fears something.
The boy whose spirit lives in your son's body died in a traffic accident.
We went to the hospital where Danilo was in a coma 2 years ago. There, we found an employee who agreed to check the patient registration journal. She found the records for October 2014.
A boy of about 10 years old was brought in. He was hit by a car. We couldn't save him.
But if it's the spirit of the deceased boy influencing Danilo and forcing him to take his own life, how do the psychics protect him from death?
We need open space.
With the help of wax candles and a few other attributes, the psychics set up a protection for the boy.
He hasn't smiled in a long time. But now you can do it, can't you?
Thank you.
We are so grateful.
For the first time in quite a while, the boy smiles. For people with the sixth sense, this is worth more than 1,000 words of gratitude. A vengeful spirit. Everyone who sees the deceased athlete in their dreams dies. Don't miss out. What terrifying secret lies buried beneath the home of the woman's brother? This small house belongs to an ordinary family of the Yushchenkos. Kirilo, the father, his wife Tetiana, and their children, 9-month-old Kostya and 5-year-old Karina. Kirilo works as a security guard, while Tetiana is a homemaker. Although everything in their lives appeared normal, the family had recently been overcome with intense fear.
There's been more than one threat to my wife's life.
It all started 6 years ago. One morning, Tetiana woke up feeling unwell. Her temperature had soared to 40 degrees Celsius, so she called a doctor. He came and reduced the fever, but couldn't explain its cause.
It was a shock to me.
Soon after, Tetiana became pregnant. But just 1 month into her pregnancy, she was hospitalized due to excruciating abdominal pain.
Everyone was worried. It was truly awful.
Doctors had no explanation for what was happening. Tetiana's tests were all normal. She was sent home, but soon the painful episodes recurred about 10 times.
Like a wheel turning one after another.
Thankfully, the birth went smoothly, and the baby was born healthy. But danger continued to loom over Tetiana. One night, she suddenly got out of bed and, sleepwalking, leaned out of the window.
She was asleep, her eyes closed, but she was walking.
By morning, Tetiana remembered nothing. Kirilo was shaken, thinking that had he not stopped her, she might have walked straight outside. And beyond their home, there's either a busy highway just 100 meters away, or a swamp that could have swallowed her.
I'm afraid we could lose Mom. I love my mom. I'm scared something will happen to her.
Kirilo shares his daughter's fear because every time Tetiana is in danger, he has dreams of his deceased sister, Natalia. She passed away 10 years ago at the age of 27 due to a sudden stroke. Kirilo struggled deeply with her loss.
It was a shock for me, a void in my soul.
2 years after Natalia's death, Kirilo met Tetiana. Life seemed to be improving, but now he fears his beloved wife could die too.
Every time I see my late sister in my dreams, something bad happens to my wife.
I need the psychics to come. When they come, they will protect my mom.
Psychics Jana Shulikova and Zaman Sipatayev will attempt to uncover the truth behind this haunting mystery.
I see the eyes of a predator watching its prey, then a leap. It attacks and tears it apart. There's a sea of blood. I see the image of a tree, but it's strange. It resembles a gravestone.
I had a vision of a small yard, a house and children playing. There were 3 of them. Then one of the little ones walked up to me, took my hand, and I saw a horrifying picture. These children seem to be asleep. They're wrapped in sheets, placed into a pit and covered with soil. Their parents are the ones doing this. The horror made me shudder. Hello?
Hello. I've been waiting for you.
Can we go inside?
Yes, of course.
Oh, what a smile. Oh, great, look what I have for you.
Kirillo's daughter was also eagerly awaiting the psychic's arrival.
Something feels very off here. Kirillo recently received a clear sign regarding his wife.
Kirillo explained that just 2 weeks before the psychics arrived, he had another dream of his sister. The next morning, his wife fell ill again.
The doctors had to take me from home with a fever of 40.
But why do Kirillo's dreams about his deceased sister always foreshadow misfortune?
A condition where your head feels like it's splitting apart. An unbearable pain.
My sister suffered a brain hemorrhage.
According to forensic medical reports, the cause of death was a stroke.
Natalia lived apart from her brother with her partner. One day, she suddenly felt unwell and called an ambulance.
Then at the hospital, the brain hemorrhage occurred. Instant death.
Kirillo learned about his sister's hospitalization from her fiancé. He rushed to see her, but was too late.
I didn't notice anyone around me. It was a huge shock.
She was highly disciplined in sports and had a strong will.
Her life was all about sports.
Natalia did biathlon, a winter Olympic sport combining cross-country skiing with rifle shooting.
She was a silver medalist at the European Championships and won many competitions. She had many trophies. Most of them were for the first place.
5 years before her death, Natalia became a biathlon coach.
It was her sport that ultimately led to her demise. Her health problems had started in her youth, from the moment she entered the sport.
As it turned out, Natalia Yushchenko had complained of general weakness and dizziness ever since she started biathlon.
She often had headaches.
These symptoms are common among young athletes who train excessively, don't get enough rest, and lack essential vitamins and minerals.
It was unbearably hard for Kirillo to deal with his sister's death.
I always looked up to her. We lived near each other and spoke often.
The grief was so overwhelming that, at one point, Kirillo even contemplated suicide.
I revved up my motorcycle, and then it suddenly stalled. I had to push it home, but the next day, it started as if nothing had happened. A paradox.
Kirillo is sure that his sister's spirit prevented him from dying that day.
Maybe she was the one who stopped me.
It has been almost 10 years since Natalia's death. Why does she now appear in Kirillo's dreams? Only for something bad to happen to his wife afterward.
Your sister comes to you in dreams to shield you from something.
Kirillo's sister, Natalia, did not die just like that. Some otherworldly force took her. But what's most terrifying is that this same force is now trying to take Kirillo's wife. This is precisely what Natalia is trying to warn her brother about. At that moment, I heard ringing laughter. Children were playing outside. It was the same laughter I'd heard in my dream. It's a sign. I suggest we go outside.
Did you see that?
Yes, children.
Who are the psychics seeing? What children are they talking about?
Let's go over there. They're literally running away.
But who are those children? Why were they in the yard? And what is truly happening to Kirillo's wife?
Suddenly, I had an image. A fair-haired, very delicate young woman. Nighttime. She's asleep in her bed. Then, as if startled by a nightmare, she suddenly sits up in terror. That's when I realized. Just like Kirillo, she saw Natalia in her dream.
As it turns out, Kirillo's sister had a close friend, Olena.
They were very good friends, very close.
A few months after Natalia's death, she began appearing to her in her dreams, and soon Olena was stabbed to death.
When Olena was murdered, it was another devastating shock.
This is horrifying. Could Kirillo's wife suffer the same dreadful fate?
If Kirillo's sister also appeared to Olena in her dreams, then we need to go to her home. There, we might understand what she was trying to communicate.
Kirillo knows where Olena's family lives, so the psychics now head there.
I heard a woman weeping, but it wasn't Natalia or Olena's spirit. It was coming from another woman. I realized it was the mother of the murdered woman. Hello.
This is Lyudmila Borovi. She is 55 years old, and she's an ordinary housewife. Olena was her only daughter, a stunning beauty, a dedicated athlete, and a two-time World Biathlon Championship medalist.
She was a bronze medalist at the World and European Championships.
In her final years, Olena worked as a coach at a youth sports school.
My dear baby, my little flower, your mommy can't stop crying. Where is my beloved child?
Olena Demidenko neighbor found her body on her way to work around 6 a.m. She immediately called the police.
The police came and said, "Your daughter has been murdered." She was lying outside, at the entrance.
Olena Demidenko's death was caused by multiple stab wounds to the chest.
I saw the eyes of a predator again. It felt like I was in a beast's lair where it had torn apart its prey.
The murder weapon was not found at the crime scene. Moreover, all the money and valuables from her home were missing.
Just a day before the tragedy, on June 17th, Olena had celebrated her 28th birthday.
The last guests left Olena Demidenko's home around midnight. She stayed with her boyfriend. By morning, she was found dead, and the man had disappeared without a trace.
Olena had started dating the man just 2 months before her death. They quickly decided to live together.
I had a vision. After committing the murder, the man packed his belongings and fled.
The police are almost certain that Olena Demidenko was killed by her partner, who had prior convictions, including for murder.
According to Olena's mother, neither the family nor Olena herself knew about her boyfriend's criminal past.
She didn't know anything about him. He never showed any signs, at least.
But how is Olena's death connected to what's happening to Kirillo's wife? Why is she constantly in danger?
She dreamt about her own death.
She told me, "Mom, I will die soon." She dreamt of it and called for me.
Who did she see?
Natalia Yushchenko.
The signs Olena received indicated that she was being pursued by some otherworldly force.
The psychics arrived at the site where Olena Demidenko's mutilated body was found. She had bought this house 2 years before her death.
She lay here like this.
Near the victim's body, a pepper spray canister was found. It seems Olena tried to fight back against her attacker. The suspect in Olena Demidenko's murder was detained. He was taken into custody and the investigation is currently underway.
At that moment, I had a vision of a man brutally stabbing and murdering people. I thought I was seeing Olena's killer, but then I realized it was someone else. Even more disturbingly, he was a relative of the victim.
What does this mean? Could one of Olena's relatives be the murderer?
Natalia's spirit appeared beside me. She took my hand and led me inside the house. I'm going to ask something strange, but I see a man. He is a murderer.
He's holding a knife and his hands are bloody.
Olena's great-grandfather. He was a terrifying bandit. After the revolution, they robbed and killed people on the roads.
The man who viciously slaughtered women and children, he is a relative of the murdered Olena. He killed people just as brutally as she was killed.
My little girl.
It turns out that Lyudmila had always feared that she would have to pay for the sins of her husband's ancestor with her own child's life.
When I got married, people approached my grandmother and said, "Why are you giving your granddaughter to this cursed family?"
Natalia knew about this, which is why she appeared in Olena's dreams, trying to warn her. Stop blaming yourself, stop it. You are not at fault here.
But why, then, did Natalia's spirit lead the psychics to this woman's family?
There were supposed to be 3 of them, 3 friends. 2 are dead and 1 remains. The 3rd woman.
She's in danger, do you understand it?
And she's involved in the same sport as Natalia.
It's Anna Krivonos. She's also a biathlete. I recently spoke to her mother and she said, "I saw Natalia and Olena in a dream and told me not to worry, as they would all be together soon."
Now the 2 of them are warning that Anna must watch out.
We will do everything possible to protect her and keep her safe.
So, did Natalia's spirit lead the psychics to Olena's mother to save the life of another of her friends? But why does death still linger over Kirillo's wife?
We decided to return to Kirillo's home.
Thank you. Wishing you all the best. Be blessed. Thanks for coming.
By the time the psychics arrived at Kirillo's house, night had fallen.
Many spirits need to leave this place. The dead are bound to it.
It turns out that the house where Kirillo's family now lives was built by his grandparents. Most of the family lived there. Over time, many of them passed away.
My uncle died at 35. He injured his legs with log and developed gangrene. Then another uncle died. He fell from a ladder.
Everyone who lives in this house is eventually taken by the same force. It once took Natalia, and now it's threatening Tatiana's life.
There is definitely some force here.
I have this sense that there are always many children playing in the yard, enjoying themselves. Have you noticed, for example, if you leave toys outside at night, do they disappear or move to a different spot?
No, not really.
Once again, the psychics are seeing children. But who are they?
Kirilo and Tetiana's daughter also senses an unseen presence in the house. Those children play with her, and this is very dangerous because these games could lead to death.
Incredibly, 5-year-old Karina says she often sees bats in her room. She is convinced they want to take her mother away.
I see bats often. They play with my toys. If these bats take my mom, I will cry.
The 3 ghosts' boys are ready to communicate. They constantly watch from around the corner. Zaman, where do we go? Is this viburnum? It's considered a conduit between the worlds of the living and the dead. It grows on the property.
I went to close the chicken coop, but there was no viburnum.
Incredibly, then where did this viburnum come from in the yard?
I see the phantoms of those children and their hands are red.
They seem to be playing with the viburnum. They're the same kids I saw in my dreams. But what terrified me most was the fact that their parents buried them while they were still asleep. How can a cemetery exist on the grounds of one's own home?
These spirits, they are sealed here.
They're trapped. The children were buried without a proper ceremony, without any rites. Now, they're stuck between the worlds of the living and the dead. They select people from their surroundings whom they like the most, and they try to take them away just to play. That's why death has visited Kirilo's home so frequently.
It turns out that over 50 years ago, Kirilo's uncle buried his twin children here. And a year later, another young boy.
They're buried under the apple tree. I know they weren't allowed to be buried in a cemetery.
Most likely they died from sudden infant death syndrome. That's why they seem to be sleeping.
It's unbelievable. Does it mean that every family member in this house is in mortal danger because of the unrest of the little souls? And that's why Tetiana and possibly her daughter could die anytime?
Zaman and I decided to use fire to help the kids' souls leave the place where they have been trapped so many years. Fire will open a portal through which their spirits will finally move on and never again trouble Kirilo's family. The flames are turning green. What we have done was right.
Thank you.
Everything will be fine for you now.
You helped us a lot. You have helped us so much.